I made $33,000 profit in a single week while I was traveling or on vacation, doesn't really matter. And in today's video, I'm going to be explaining how exactly did I do this. I will be breaking down this video into three main sections, such as the business vehicle that I use, what strategy did I use, and how you guys can copy me. Now, in this video, I also want to mention how you guys can also do this with no inventory or warehouse needed, no customer support, no ads, no shipping, and we're just going to be using videos. Now, this is not a video to sell you guys anything. This is straight up just pure sauce. So if you guys would like to see more videos like this, then let me know in the comments. But anyways, in today's video, I'm going to be also teaching you guys how exactly can you do what I did and get started with $0 and no skills. So a little bit later on, you guys are going to see how I'm dividing this video not only into three parts, but two major sections. So how can you get started with $0? As well as how can you get started with no skills. So there's a lot going on here, but I hope you guys bear with me here. So first, starting with what business model did I use or business vehicle? When you hear this, no inventory, warehouse needed, no customer support, no ads, no shipping, you probably think of drop shipping, which is, let's go down here. And if you're not familiar with what drop shipping is, essentially you're like the middleman between the consumer and the manufacturer, and you're selling products for a markup, right? So you create your own little website, you have your product. Now your job is to get traffic to that website. Now there's typically two ways to do it. You have paid ads and organic. Given how in this context we're saying, how can you do this with $0, no skill, no experience, whatever? Well, what if I tell you most drop shippers are actually lying? You actually do need some skills because with drop shipping, you need to create a website. You need to learn how to uh, write convincing copy. You need to source these products. You need to make good videos, right? There's a lot of things in drop shipping that cannot be done with, for example, oops, with, for example, no skills. So this is why drop shipping is already out when it comes to how do you get started with no skills. Next thing, in terms of starting with $0, this is where people start LARPing about organic drop shipping. Well, if you're broke, you essentially just need a phone and then you don't have to ship anything until you actually get a sale, until people actually buy something. That's the only time you need to buy the product in which you fulfill the order yourself. Well, this is why organic drop shipping sucks. And I'll break down like the honest truth because most people love to LARP on the internet. But anyways, this is why organic dropshipping sucks. There's no hard data to scale with. And by the way, the context that I'm providing here is from a talented, skilled dropshipper himself, one of my friends. He does dropshipping, but it's through paid ads. Considering how you want to start with $0, this doesn't apply to you. But let me convince you why organic dropshipping sucks. So going back to it, there's no hard data to scale with, right? Unlike paid ads, you do get that hard data, such as clicks, conversions, demographics, right? You also can't easily test products. One of the main selling points of organic dropshipping is you just make videos, engaging, stop scrolling or scroll stopping content, and then you funnel all of this traffic to a website, right? But what people don't tell you is with organic drop shipping, you can't test rapidly, right? If you have a viral product, it's gonna take a little bit before you actually start, getting a signal or a clue that yeah, people would actually want to buy this product. So unlike ads, which you can test in a day, organic actually takes weeks of content, especially if you're a complete beginner. What the heck, right? Like if you're a complete beginner and you're spending all this time researching viral trending cheap Chinese knockoff products, right? If you don't have any skills, how are you going to market that product? You don't know the main selling point, you don't know the pain points of these people, right? It's just not a good business model to start with. And it's not even a business model, let me tell you that. It's a fulfillment method, but they don't want to talk about that. Anyways, sometimes you also go for the wrong reasons. Like some of the popular dropshipping videos that I see is like some step bro, step mom jokes. It's just so silly, right? Like they're selling bootleg AirPods, which by the way can get you sued. But on top of that, the type of marketing that they're doing, like they have the AirPods case open, like bent over or whatever, and then like, then they insert step bro, step mom jokes. It's just so immature, right? No actual adult with money, right? You want to target people with money, they're not going to buy that product. You're just going to attract a bunch of children that think it's funny, and then they're going to interact with the video. So then you get engagement and the video keeps going viral, but you're not getting any conversions because you're attracting children that don't have any money. Yeah, not so good. Also, low conversion rate. Organic traffic tends to be colder, right? So people browsing on your TikTok or Instagram aren't always ready to buy, making it harder to convert. Now, there's going to be a common objection later on where, like, oh, okay, so if this is organic traffic and the whole point of this video is organic traffic, what makes this model different than drop shipping? I'll explain later on. And lastly, you can't force results. With ads, you spend more, you put more money in, you make more money out, right? And then lastly, another reason why I just don't even recommend organic drop shipping at all is just the culture behind it. Like, let's be honest, who out there is actually making 100K profit a month with organic drop shipping? That isn't selling a course. Oh, yeah, that's right. No one, because if your main business model or fulfillment method, whatever you want to call it, is extremely competitive with organic, considering how the amount of money you make is correlated to how viral, trending worthy this product is, then you're giving out the sauce, right? You're teaching people how to do it. You're creating more competition for yourself. Why are not people thinking? Like, it's common sense. Why would they people sell the sauce? Like, oh, don't get me started with the abundance garbage that gets larped around on the internet. Like, I'm telling you guys, these drop shippers that do organic drop shipping, it just doesn't work. Majority of the actual thing that does work with drop shipping is with paid ads. That's the reality. And let's say you are a brokey and you are looking to get into organic drop shipping, not only does it take months of skill to figure that out, plus like all the other things that comes with drop shipping, if you actually manage to find a viral product, by the time you actually go viral, assuming you're a complete beginner, there's already some dude out there that knows how to do paid ads, ripping your creatives, running it up on like meta ads, whatever. And by the time you actually start selling anything, the market's already saturated. People already experience fatigue with it, so then you don't even get any sales, right? You're just gonna get outperformed by people that not only know what they're doing, have years of experience with what they're doing, they know branding, they know all of this, and then they also have the money to do it. Which is why, in terms of, let's go back here, in terms of how to get started with $0, drop shipping is not the way to go. Which brings us to our next point. So, what can you actually do that starts with little to no upfront cost, no inventory or warehouse needed, no shipping or logistics to handle? You can literally run it anywhere around the world as long as you have Wi Fi, launch fast, scale easily, right? In terms of launching fast, like test multiple products at the same time, in terms of easily scaling, how can you go from 0 to 100K right away and with as little risk as possible? Well, let me introduce you guys to TikTok Shop. Essentially, the best way to explain what TikTok Shop is like it's like Amazon, but instead of searching to buy, you are scrolling to buy, right? And the biggest difference is when consumers go on Amazon, they already know what to buy, right? Let's say you want toothpaste. You go on Amazon, you already know what to buy. Maybe you don't have the specifics of which toothpaste you want to buy, but you want toothpaste, right? In terms of specifics, like what actual ingredients, like does it have nanohydroxyapatite or does it have more whitening properties, whatever, or yeah, like the color changing purple to yellow, whatever. Or yeah, like you don't know the specifics of the brand and the ingredient, but you do know that I have yellow teeth. I don't want to get cavities. That's uh problem awareness, right? And then the solution awareness is I need toothpaste because that can help fix it, right? Now you don't know what product awareness, right? Like which product can actually help me get to that goal, right? That's essentially what Amazon is. Now, the difference is with TikTok recently, or not recently, but the difference between Amazon and TikTok is now it's scroll to buy. So the thing with TikTok is the social feed is mostly based off of impulsive, emotional, story driven content. I don't know why I didn't add that here. So let's add it real quick. And the difference between TikTok Shop and Amazon is the way how you essentially get customers to buy is based off of virality versus SEO rankings and leveraging storytelling and trends versus optimized listings and PPC ads. So, if you guys are not familiar, that's essentially what TikTok Shop is. It's derived from TikTok. It's TikTok's own e-commerce platform. Now, getting into the nitty gritty, TikTok Shop actually has two different types. You have the brand sellers on TikTok Shop, and you also have the affiliate creator. If the drop shipping route interests you, then the brand seller route is probably the best option for you. However, if you've never made any money before, you don't have any capital, you don't have any skills, I recommend becoming an affiliate creator because once you master this skill, you can sell anything on TikTok Shop. Not only that, while you're still learning how to learn the skill, the art of selling, you can market your services to actual brand owners, partner with them, learn from them the actual back end, how to like set up, like finding a manufacturer, the actual labeling of the products, whatever, right? While you're helping a brand owner go stupid viral on TikTok, you can work with them, work under them, learn from them. And then when you're ready to sell your own brand, because now you have the actual capital, then you can be your own brand seller. So you don't hit a ceiling, right? And then now you're stuck in this loop where, okay, maybe I need to switch business models. Let me go try something else, in which eventually you end up in this cycle of shiny object syndrome, right? So that's the reason why some people get stuck in this online business thing is because they keep bouncing between different things rather than just actually sticking with one thing, learning that skill, getting really good at it, and then, experience enough ceilings. But, how do I explain this? Like, essentially, what I'm trying to say is some people, they hit a ceiling and they can't hit to, let's say they're stuck at like 20K a month. They can't get past that to get to 100K a month. Yeah, like they're gonna do like the whole shiny object syndrome thing, and the next thing you know, with this new business model, they hit another ceiling, and essentially you get stuck in this loop where it's ceiling after ceiling after ceiling. But had they just stuck with the same thing and just got better, then they wouldn't have to experience the same ceiling in a different business model. Which is why, as you guys can see behind me, I have a YouTube play button. I've been making content for a long time now, and it's funny because when I transitioned to TikTok, I was like, wait a minute, it's literally the exact same thing, but except this time we are doing physical products instead of just pure entertainment out of gaming content. So anyways, kind of went on a yap spree there, but essentially, as an affiliate creator, what it is you make videos for the brands talking about their product. Essentially, it's just marketing in a nutshell. Now, here's the thing: when you start TikTok Shop, the common mental blocks per se is that, oh, I'm not an influencer, how are gonna people gonna buy from me, I don't have any followers, I don't know how to sell, and no one will watch my videos. Well, the beauty of TikTok as a platform is that it's a discovery platform, right? You essentially don't even need, like, this is the only platform where followers are ultimately useless, because the way how TikTok pushes your content is as long as you keep making content to a specific audience, TikTok will push that content to that specific audience. And these specific audiences, let's say they just came from work, they went on their phone and they're scrolling. They don't even see how much followers you have. They don't care. They just care, how does this video actually connect with their interest or whatever, right? And if your message, your story, or whatever the hell you're trying to say in your video actually resonates with this person enough for them to, you know, leave comments or engage with the content, that signals to the YouTube, or excuse me, the TikTok algorithm, like, hey, this content actually resonated really, really well with this viewer. Let's go push out this video to other people that are interested in the same niche. And if the video just keeps getting more and more and more positive feedback and engagement from people, actually, it doesn't have to be positive feedback, like quite literally in terms of words. It's just the engagement, right? If this video is getting more and more engagement, then TikTok starts to pump out this video to other people in adjacent niches. You know, it doesn't have to be specifically the exact same thing, just close enough, if that makes sense, which is the beauty with TikTok Shop and as a platform. So, when it comes to being successful on the TikTok Shop platform and how to be an affiliate creator that actually does extremely well, so far, I've broken it down into four main sections, right? You have to learn how to source account. You need to have a good product. You need to know what content style, and you need to have a good strategy so that essentially you can profit, ideally, $33,000 profit in a single month. Now, let's be real. Like, if you've never made money on the internet, that's probably a crazy goal. Like, for some people, their goal is like 10K in a month. To even make that, $33,000 profit in a week without posting any videos, without uploading every single day, and without any skill. You're probably like, okay, yeah, Sydney, like this is a little bit, you know, it's a little bit overwhelming. Like, how are we exactly gonna get there? Which brings us to my next point. What if I tell you that when you're a complete beginner, you don't need to worry about the product. You don't even need to worry about the content style. It's all in your strategy that will lead into your profit. So, before we get into that, real quick, this is like the main thing that I always hear people talk about, whether they're just a regular creator, either on Twitter or TikTok itself, or sometimes during my consulting calls, people always ask me, like, oh, Sydney, like, what's a appropriate content style that can work for me? When you figure out how to use this strategy that I'm going to teach you in today's video, you literally won't even need to care about an appropriate content style for you. Essentially, by understanding what I'm going to teach in today's video, this will break you free from the stress that comes with most creators, where once they hit a ceiling from a, let's say they went viral with the conspiracy green screen style, right? As of lately, that content style has been extremely saturated that a lot of people are getting violations. So not only did they hit an income limit of, let's say, 30 to 50K a month, now they're trying to get past to 100K in a month, or maybe they're not even there yet, but they can't even get to that point because they're getting so many stinking violations, right? What I'm going to teach you guys in this video will essentially protect you from all of this nonsense, the violations, the stress of like hitting an income ceiling from a particular content style. So don't worry about like what a talking head style is, what is problem solution, what is conspiracy slash conspiracy green screen, what is POV slash character skit. Like, let's say you're just not that comfortable on camera doing little skits, or what is a testimonial, transformation, personal story, or education, because maybe you don't know much about other products. How are you going to teach about it, right? So, this is a little bit of a long winded video, but bear with me, guys. This brings us to our next point, which is one of my favorite strategies, transformation selling. Now, the crazy part, they actually didn't even realize this initially until later. Like, it's funny how life works where things only make sense in hindsight. Because I remember there was this point in my TikTok shop life where I hit a ceiling. I was stuck at a 30K month. And it got to the point where you can't rely too much on the product, like chasing trending products, just because by the time you chase that trending product, then essentially there's probably like 50, 100, God knows how many people are also running that same product if they see it on their feed, right? And if you just get over reliant on copying people, sure, the actual content style works, but if you're copying, right, how do you differentiate yourself? Most people, assuming you're a extreme beginner in this context, right? How do you differentiate yourself if you're copying the same video bar for bar, right? If they're saying like this lowered my cortisol and my fupa disappeared, and if you're also starting your video that this lowered my cortisol and my fupa disappeared, what what is the variable that makes you different from these other people, right? I remember one time in my consulting call, this guy stared at me straight in the eyes, dead serious. What is wrong with my content? I asked this dude, where did he get the inspo for this video? Compare them side by side. It's identical. It's the exact same copy. And then this guy asked me what's wrong with his content. Changing the product or changing the actual face of the creator or the background of the video, those are not good enough variables. And chances are, most of these people don't even know how to script write, right? Don't get me wrong, I'm also working on my own copywriting, but my leverage, which makes it even easier for me to make content that just converts, unlike other people, is understanding my own unfair advantages. Now, if you follow me on Twitter, you probably have seen countless tweets from me talking about your unfair advantage is what's going to take you to 100K month. Now, this video is not about how to get to 100K month. It's more so how I got to a 33K profit in a week while at the same time teaching complete beginners how to get there. But essentially, this is how you make high converting content on easy mode, right? Like, how can you make content that just goes viral, that it just converts so well that you can take a vacation, that you don't have to post every day, and you also don't have to post multiple times in a day, because I've seen so many tweets of so many people talking about how, with TikTok shop, it's volume, 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 gotta post 15 to 20 tweets. At that point, it feels like a 9 to 5, right? So how can we work smarter, not harder? And this is it. It's through transformation selling. So essentially, what transformation selling is you're selling the results, you're not selling the product. So here's an example. Let's say you're trying to sell a Stanley Cup. If you were to sell the product, then you would start your video with this. This Stanley Cup is a double wall vacuum insulation. It can hold cold drinks for 12 hours, and it's a durable stainless steel cup. Whereas if you were to sell the transformation, what you would talk about is how essentially by having, okay, so let me just use myself as an example. Personally, I only drink cold water. If you like water, you know the difference between cold water, room temperature water, and hot water. So again, in this context, if you're like me who only drinks cold water, it's important for me to have something that keeps that drink cold. And by essentially drinking more water, what that does is it hydrates your body, right? Essentially, it helps you have clear skin, right? Because you're hydrated now. And by drinking from a Stanley cup, which is made out of metal, you also decrease the amount of microplastics that you drink, which leads to you having a healthier body. Bear with me, this probably sounds like a crazy connection, but I promise you it makes sense. And another thing, this is one of my favorite angles, the relationship angle. So you guys know how women, like, there's those memes on the internet where sometimes your girlfriend just acts crazy, and then if you ask her if she has eaten anything today, she either says, I just drank coffee or I ate a cookie and call it a day. Whereas if you're, a functioning adult, you need to eat like 3 times a day. Not even a functioning adult. Doesn't really matter which age group, but the important part is you eat 3 healthy meals a day. And if you're just drinking coffee and you're eating cookies, that's not enough. That's why you're going batshit crazy, right? So essentially, one of the ideas that I came up with is you're not you when you're dehydrated. Why? Well, essentially, down to the science, if you want to get technical about it, this is it. So, when you're not drinking enough water, your brain shrinks, essentially disrupting your mood chemicals. You also become more irritable, emotional, and overact to small problems. So, for example, let's say, your boyfriend took you out on a date and then he didn't ask, or excuse me, yeah, let's say your boyfriend took you out to a date, and rather than him suggesting a place or knowing a place already, he goes and asks you, what do you want to eat? Now, if you're that one girlfriend, you're going to be like irritated for no reason. Like, why can't he just figure it out? Why can't he just have something planned, right? It's a really, 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 really dumb reason, but essentially that's where the small overreaction to problems come from. I'm not justifying that behavior, but essentially that's where the idea comes from, right? Imagine if you're dating someone like that. I can see how that can be a bit exhausting and annoying, which is exactly why I'm not justifying it. I'm just saying there's that little, know, joke on the internet for shits and giggles where girlfriends are like, yeah, I just get a little bit irritated and like harass my boyfriend here and there. And essentially, they're the reason why that thing happens in the first place because they're not eating or they're not hydrating, right? And why is that? It's because they don't have a Stanley cup that encourages them to drink more water and stay hydrated, right? Another example, when you're not drinking enough water, your brain gets foggy, making decisions become harder. So essentially, the logical answer is like, okay, well, if you get irritable, that saying, you're not you when you're hungry, which is why you're hangry, right? Like the logical solution is go eat food, like actual food. Don't just drink coffee. Don't just, munch on cookies. One, you know, if you're just drinking coffee, like you're just starving yourself more. And two, if you're just eating cookies, you're flooding your body with like all of this sugar, which is not really good either. So, yeah, I don't know if this is making any sense, but I hope you guys are still with me. Next thing, your energy crashes, his cells struggle to function. So that's when like girls are like, oh, my tummy hurts, or like, I don't know why I feel so weak today. I don't feel like doing anything. So then you fit that girlfriend trope where you just don't do anything all day and you're just sleeping. That's essentially it. And then lastly, hunger signals get mixed up, making you hangry. Yeah, that's the example that I gave earlier. Um, so yeah, like essentially you can like if I was to make a video about a Stanley Cup, I would make something about how, oh my God, like this saved my relationship because me and my boyfriend keep bickering. Come to find out, it's actually me who's the problem. And then digging deeper, I realize it's because I'm dehydrated, right? I'm making dumb decisions because I'm not nourishing my body to have the hydration that it needs. That's how I would go about it if I was doing this for shits and giggles, but also trying to convert. Like you start to target the people with like relationship issues. Essentially, you're going to somehow convince them to believe that, oh my God, the solution to their relationship issues is just this Stanley Cup. And on top of that, I mean, I don't know if you guys have seen how many women on TikTok are like super addicted to Stanley Cups. Like, there's women out there with like a whole wall of Stanley Cups, right? So, if your delivery and execution is pretty good on a video, then you can have a shareable video. This is one of the things that you want on TikTok, right? Have a video super dumb and easy enough for literally anyone of any age, any gender can understand. And if this video actually resonates strongly with your viewer, you can have like the girlfriend send this video to her boyfriend, where now it justifies why he should buy her a Stanley Cup. And then because they are sharing that video, this essentially tells TikTok, oh, wow, this is a video that people like. So we should probably, you know, push this out to more people, if that makes sense. Moving on. Another example of not selling the product, selling the transformation. So let's say we have a BHA toner. The facts of the product is that it's a 2% BHA, salicylic acid, alcohol free. If somebody was just scrolling on TikTok, they're going to look at that and go like, "Oh, okay, it's literally just like any other toner." So rather than selling the product, you want to sell the transformation, right? This is how this toner essentially reverses the sign of aging. Now, I wouldn't start the video like that, but you want to show like the desire that the people has. This will make more sense later on into the video when I start to show my frameworks and whatnot. But essentially, you want to show the end result that this person will get by buying this product. You want to trigger that desire by showing that transformation, right? Which is essentially, the end result of using this product is that they're going to reverse the signs of aging. They're going to have a younger complexion, and a younger youthful complexion essentially correlates to fertility. And what is fertility? That's a that men desire that. So imagine like trying to sell this to like some, I don't know, middle age. What is middle age? I don't know, but like imagine trying to sell this to like a woman in her 40s and 50s, and she's currently in this tight spot in her relationship with her husband where he's not even you know acknowledging her anymore. He's not even flirting with her anymore. He's not even initiating anymore. Imagine how hurt that wife feels, to feel desired again by her husband, right? And so this is why like women can get easily larped into like plastic surgery and like these, Botox, whatever. Um Essentially the goal is to like how can you fix that insecurity and that desire, help that desire of that wife, right? So how can you make her essentially feel confident, and in return it makes her husband desire her again, right? So for example, yeah, like let's say this lady looks old, her husband doesn't find her hot anymore, he's losing attraction, now he's looking to file for divorce, right? This is such a crazy video. I've never made a video like this before, but I hope you guys can understand where I'm going with this. So essentially, you want to create a story where this product essentially brings back that chasing from the husband, right? Oh, if I had known that a BHA toner, the acid in it can promote excuse me, cell turnover, right? What that does is, okay, so essentially what like salicylic does is it gently exfoliates your skin, and again, it promotes cell turnover, which essentially boosts collagen production, which is why it makes your skin more elastic, whatever, to make you more youthful. Now, if you're a woman that actually took care of your skin at an early age and you actually, tried maintaining a youthful complexion, then maybe your husband wouldn't, be, lack of a better word, deferred and actually want to desire you again. So, essentially it's like, oh, yeah, like my wife is starting to look attractive again. I don't know what she did, but the end result is because you started working on your skin again, it makes him want to desire you more, encourage to do things more or initiate things, more time in the bedroom, whatever, stronger connection, relationship. And it actually fixes a problem where your husband almost divorced you. This is such this is such a crazy take of explaining it, but I hope that makes sense, right? So you want to sell the idea that, yeah, I mean, am I wrong? Like, if a husband is like old, right? And like his wife actually took the initiative and just rather than abandoning herself and giving up on herself, if she actually put in the effort to, maintain herself while the husband is also working just as hard to provide for the two of them, right? When he comes home from work and he sees like this drop dead gorgeous lady, he's gonna think like, wow, I have a gem, right? Because unlike other husbands out there that's around the same age group, my wife actually did her part trying to maintain that. Now, in terms of is that actually a good thing or a bad thing, that's subjective. I mean, I've never been married, I have no idea. And in terms of like what men desires, that's up to them. This is just like what I see from like watching people and like, middle-aged women complaining on TikTok about how their husband divorced them and left off with a younger woman. Um, I hope this video doesn't get a negative reaction because of that. I hope you guys understand. But anyways, next thing, AirPods Max, right? Now, AirPods Maxes are a different case because the brand itself is already pretty popular, right? Unlike these two, which are essentially commodities, like you can literally just with minus the branding, it can literally be any product, right? So how do you differentiate yourself as a brand? Um I don't know where I'm going with that train of thought. But anyways, going back to AirPods Maxes, um in this context, if you're like an average Joe Schmo that's just buying a product, I'm pretty sure the average person does not really care if, you know, all of the I didn't include all of it, but I'm pretty sure the average person does not really care about the genuine specifics of the AirPod Maxes. What they mostly care about is a status. And I'm thinking of this in the context of back when I used to be in high school, right? I remember there was always okay, middle school and high school, there was always a war between Androids and iPhones. And if you had an iPhone, essentially people just viewed you to be rich, even though you're probably poor and you're paying for a phone, like, I don't know, doing the monthly plan, excuse me. But that's the reason why I just have status here. Essentially, like what AirPods Maxes does or Apple in general does really well to sell their product is like the premium feel and the exclusivity, right? Even from like the box itself. You buy an Apple product and like the box is just one of a kind. Like there's no other products out there that can give you like, you know how Apple boxes, when you open it, it's like very seamless, like down to like the milliliters. Like it's so smooth. The only other product that I've seen that can do that is this brand called Lifein. It's a Chinese brand, and I love their toothbrushes. It gives you that same Apple premium feel. I'm gonna be honest, when I first saw that electric toothbrush, I didn't even care about the features, like the fact that it oscillates. Because I saw my boyfriend with this toothbrush, and the fact that it just looks so cool and it looks like an Apple product just literally made me buy it. I don't care about the features. There's so many electric toothbrushes out there. That's probably a fraction of the cost that comes with so much more things, but I didn't care. It just looks cool. It gives off that status vibe, right? Similar example, for example, like designer goods, right? Louis Vuitton, whatever. Like most of these products, I mean, I've seen so many videos lately from TikTok where these Chinese warehouse manufacturers, whatever, are exposing luxury brands where you can buy the exact same thing from China for like a huge fraction of the cost. The only difference why these products are like so much more expensive is once the products are done, they don't have any label, they get shipped to like the actual countries, like I don't know, maybe Italy, France, yeah, Italy, uh, France, etc. And then all they do is they stamp that seal that says "Made in X," and then they ship it to the U.S. And then that's essentially what makes it more expensive, right? So then you ask yourself, like, how come these people that very obviously cannot afford like these luxury goods, these purses, still buy it? Right? It's not because it's a good quality bag. They're buying it because of the brand, because of the status that they get. I want to talk about this on a future video, like the evolutionary psychology behind it, like how even hundreds and thousands of years ago, like people have that tribal mentality, and essentially the reason behind it is like it's for safety, it's for security, right? Because if you're not a part of a group, of a community like hundreds and thousands of years ago, essentially what ends up happening is you're just gonna die, point blank, right? I don't know if YouTube's gonna violate because of the terms that I'm saying in this video. I hope not, but that's basically the reason why, right? So that's why that sense of belongingness, being a part of a community, being a part of the crowd, right? Like is really important to people. The way how people do that with luxury designer goods is like status symboling, right? It's not more so that you want to be just like everybody else. The reason why you're desiring these high luxury items is you want to be with the rich people. You don't want to be viewed as the poor people that can't afford, like living in scarcity, poverty, whatever, right? So, what is it called? I'm not saying like you want to be just like everybody else. To some extent, you want to be a little bit different, but you want to be a part of like a higher status group of people, right? Because maybe it triggers like a part of your insecurity where like you get reminded of how underprivileged you are or how poor you are. I don't know, this is just my observations when it comes to stuff like that, but anyways, essentially people buy emotions, not the specs. So emotion is like the desire, the feeling, the identity. Again, status symboling with the AirPod Maxes or like the Louis Vuitton purses. But yeah, logic is like facts that make the purchase justifiable. There's this saying that people buy with emotions and justify it with the facts, such as, and these are the facts, right? 24, or excuse me, 20% off right now, thousands of 5-star reviews. This one I use a lot on my videos, made with organic videos. This is one of the reasons why that one beef tallow brand called Evil Goods did really well on TikTok. Besides having like a whole army of affiliates, this is the main selling point, right? Like it's challenging the idea of how most skincare in the US are like filled with toxic ingredients, parabens, PFAs, etc. Whereas beef tallow is made with not only whole ingredients but also like organic, high quality natural ingredients, and there's not a lot of like preservatives or whatever, right? So, anyways, here's an example, right? This is a Chick-fil-A grilled chicken sandwich. So this is marketed as a grilled chicken sandwich, which essentially means healthier than fried, right? The facts are it has 28 grams of protein per sandwich. There's no sauces by default, no cheese, no bacon, literally other Big Mac stuff, right? Now, why would someone pick this over like the regular grilled chicken sandwich if they're a holistic foodie, right? I mean, it's still fast food, so they're probably not going to buy it. But essentially, the point that I'm trying to make is people don't really care about the specifics. They just want to look for what's convenient and what appeals to their desire, their emotional desires, right? Because the reality is, this chicken sandwich right here is not actually any healthier. Like, the reality is, it's super high in sodium. Like, we're talking like 1,000 milligrams. So that's why I'm saying you need to lead with the transformation and then you follow up with the product benefits to back it up. And I'll explain why in a little bit. Which brings us to the next point in this video. This is how you're going to copy me to get to a 33,000 profit in a week. Essentially, the idea is if you're a complete beginner, you want to sell products that you already use, right? Products that you naturally like, talk like, or aspire like. Because if you're selling products that you already use, you're gonna know what the benefits of the product are. You're gonna know why you keep using this product. Either it's convenient, it gets you the exact thing that you want. And on top of that, if you're starting with products that you actually already love and enjoy, you're gonna know what other reasons these people could also want the same product, right? Like, it can get super complicated talking about this, but at its core, like for example, I personally use this Korean sunscreen from Beauty of Jason. A lot of people love this product. Now, if you want to get into the nitty gritty, the reason why I use sunscreen is because you get UV radiation damage from the sun, and then essentially that causes free radicals to form under your skin because shit starts to oxidize, whatever. And essentially what happens is it causes like micro tears on like your elasticin fibers on your skin, which causes like the wrinkles and whatever, right? And I know for a fact that when I'm in my 40s, I don't want to look old, right? I already look super young for my age, which is pretty sick, but I can't predict how I'm going to look in the future. So I'm adding like the extra preventative measures to make sure that when I am in my 40s and 50s and I don't know how I will look, at least by taking care of my skin, it doesn't get to a point where I look old and wrinkly and saggy. And beauty is subjective, but from my personal opinion, that's what I would want, right? So, anyways, so yeah, like if I was to make a video on a product that I actually like, then I would know the benefits and I would know the reason why I use the product, essentially resulting in you where, for example, if you were to make the video, then you would know like the pain points of why people use it. So for example, let's say, or actually I'll talk about it in a little bit. But yeah, anyways, I got a little bit too excited. I started going into the examples right away, but let me finish this first. So here's why this method is stupid easy. Essentially, you are the transformation, right? You are already living proof of the product working because you actually use a product. Isn't that crazy? Right? Your everyday life is a proof. You understand the pain points without needing research because, again, you use this product every single day. You are the audience. You know what they feel, fear, fantasize about, right? You get the lingo. Like, for example, with Korean sunscreen, like Beauty of Jason or Round Lab, or all these different products, like Korean filters are so much better than American filters because American filters haven't been approved since 1990s here in the United States because the FDA just doesn't want to do shit. You get the point, right? So you understand the things that people in this niche already talk about because you also use this product. Next, trust is built in, right? Because essentially if you're the transformation and like you're playing the part already, people are just going to trust you more than somebody that doesn't play the part, and I'll explain more on that later on. And then lastly, TikTok sells through identity. Essentially what this means is something works because you are just like them, and that sells harder than this has 500 milligrams of liposomal NAD. Essentially what that means is hold on, I need a drink, I've been yapping a lot. Essentially, what that means is, for example, let's say I was trying to make a video on liposomal NAD, which is a precursor to, or liposomal NAD is, it's like, I think NMD or something like that. A precursor to NAD, whatever, doesn't matter. Or nicotinamide riboside is the precursor to NAD, right? Anyways, if I was to make a video on this as an example, I would make something like, yeah, let's just use a husband example. Yeah, so I've been aging a lot lately, or like I've been looking old and wrinkly, and I know what it feels like to have my husband ignore me or not even acknowledge my existence. Because, like, I don't know what it is. I got more uglier lately. Doesn't really matter. Um, and then essentially, ever since I started taking this supplement, and I'm actually seeing the benefits, right? Where cell regeneration, whatever it does with the mitochondria, I don't know the actual science behind it because I don't run this product. But essentially, let's just say like this product actually promotes some whatever in your biology that it makes you look younger, right? So essentially, like this saves your marriage, whatever. Same example earlier. With what is it? What example did I use this on? Oh yeah, the BHA toner. So yeah, anyways, essentially, like if you actually experience the same problems as other people before using a product, like for example, right? Like if you have a lot of acne, you would want to use acne patches, but the reason why you started using this acne patch is because now you have a way to channel the zit through the actual acne patch and absorb the gunk, the juices in your acne. So when you actually do promote the product, you can talk about how, yeah, like the reason why I don't like these other acne patches is because it takes forever to work. Like it just doesn't work, right? Because your skin barrier is so thick that the zit doesn't have a channel to like actually come out of. So it doesn't matter how many acne patches you use, it's still there, which is why you need to use this acne patch with microneedles to help channel that zit juice through a hole, right? By essentially doing a tiny hole or poke on your skin barrier to create that channel. I hope that is making sense. Anyways, here's an example. Let's say you are trying to sell these creatine gummies called Beast Bites. Who do you think can sell better? We have two characters here. We have stressed out Steve, which is a dad with three kids, stressed out, visibly tired, like no life, literally. And he's also kind of chunky, and then he looks like this. This is just a random thing that I generated from like this one tool on Google. It doesn't have to be this way. And I hope people don't take these examples too literally. I'm not trying to be mean. It's just I don't know how to best explain it. But I hope you guys don't mind the models. Anyways, and then you have locked in Liam. He's 26, 6'3", that's lean, and he actually doesn't look lifeless. He looks confident, just energy radiates through the screen because of, you can just tell when someone's happy. Like their vibes just radiate through the screen. So yeah, anyways, which of these two characters do you think can sell these creatine gummies a lot better? Let's take a guess. If you didn't guess locked in Liam, then you're cooked. Because here's the reason why. Essentially, right, when you're making a video and you don't even use the product or you don't do anything remotely close to it, or let's just say this, right? Because the idea behind this video is how can you do this, right? How can you do this method with no skills? And that's why we're starting with transformation selling, right? Selling products that you actually use. So if you go to the gym, or excuse me, if you don't go to the gym and obviously you don't use creatine or anything of the sort, and you look like this, you don't play the role, you're gonna have a hard time trying to convince people on TikTok that you need to buy these creatine gummies because, you know, it increases like water retention, or I don't know. I don't use creatine, I don't work out that crazy, but how I like to think of it is this. Like if I was to make videos on creatine gummies versus my cousin who actually goes to the gym, let's say we're complete beginners and we don't know what the hell we're doing with TikTok marketing. You will have, or my cousin will have an easier time selling these creatine gummies because since he does work out and he uses creatine, it doesn't matter if it's powder form or gummy form. He knows why people would want to take creatine if they go to the gym. So they actually resonate with the viewers a lot more than I would because one, I don't go to the gym, or at least consistently. And two, I don't care enough about creatine. I probably should. But does that make sense? And vice versa, right? If I was to make videos on Korean sunscreen versus my cousin, Sure, he can get the idea behind Korean, or excuse me, he can get the idea behind why sunscreen is important, but he wouldn't get the idea why Korean sunscreen is better than American sunscreen, right? So that's why I'm saying if you guys are a complete beginner, you want to pick products that not only do you already use, but you also know, because when you try to sell it to other people, essentially you're just gonna sound like a friend trying to convince their friend that you should buy this product, right? So for example, let's say, yeah, I have two hand sanitizers. One is Touchland, the other is like this Japanese hand sanitizer, right? If I was trying to convince my friend Kathy why this Japanese hand sanitizer is so much better than Touchland, one, the price point, two, the fact that, you know, unlike the Touchland hand sanitizer, you can't refill it. It's a one-time use. It's $10 per tiny bottle, whereas this Japanese hand sanitizer, not only is it refillable when you get it, it also comes with a refillable bag that you can pour into the hand sanitizer, which makes it a better purpose. On top of that, it's also thinner, right? So essentially, like, it's just easier for you to just explain it to someone if you actually like the product and use the product. And then the way how you can essentially copy me is basically that. You want to sell products that you already use. Because, funny enough, the reason why I was able to do, like, for example, $7,000 profit in a single day while not working, by the way, mind you, and how, while I'm walking around, I think it's called Fifth Avenue, buying like designer purses, I was literally the amount I spent on that purse that day, I made it that same day. Like, it doesn't even matter. And this is like a what? I think the screenshot was at 8 a.m. Yeah. So like there was still so many hours in the day. I think the timer ends at like 1 or 2 a.m. But yeah, anyways, if this is very complicated to understand, that's exactly why I created this framework. These are the two main frameworks that's really important when it comes to selling on TikTok Shop. And this is essentially what I use, right? This is my map framework, which essentially stands for motive, action, and proof. And what that means as a whole is, what emotional transformation is this person chasing? And then on top of that, in terms of, let's see, where does this link to? Yeah, in terms of strategy here on the bottom left, like the main foundations or pillars of TikTok Shop, there's also this PACE framework, which my friend Brian actually pioneered. I was trying to figure out a way to call the framework, but essentially it's the idea behind open loops and how to maintain that viewer's retention throughout the entire videos. It's these two main frameworks that made my video go super viral to the point that it's just converging so much that I don't have to make another video that entire week, that entire month, the next couple months, right? But yeah, if you guys want to know how to apply these two frameworks to essentially copy and paste the same method, doesn't matter what product, right? Because once you, let's say you get bored with the same products that you're promoting, now you want to move on to other products, right? How can you also do transformation selling with other products? And it's these two key frameworks right here. I have more frameworks, but that is for a future video because this is the end. So, if you guys want to hear more sauce, just like this video, then make sure you guys check out my newsletter as well as my Twitter, because before stuff ever reaches my YouTube channel, just because YouTube is like a long form platform, it takes a little bit. If you're subscribed to my newsletter, you're going to get the best sauce possible before everyone else, because I post stuff on my newsletter before I post it on my Twitter. So this is my Twitter. It's sin_NXS. This is what I look like. And yeah, so make sure you guys go check out my newsletter. I have more videos planned, but I hope this video helped. It's a little bit long winded, but yeah, thank you so much for watching.